Hi there, everybody. Welcome back. I know it's been a while, but I have been trying to cleanse myself of my psychic stalker, we will call XO. If you've watched my other videos, you've heard me talk about him. I had a pretty rough night last night, and I'm looking a little tired today because I think he was here and messing with me. He's getting upset that I'm closing off access to him so that he can't get to me, and he's been physical. I'll tell you about that in a second, but I am tired today. Very, very tired. But I wanted to come on because it is July 16th and tonight is the full moon and it is a lunar eclipse. This is a big one. It's a very big deal. I've been saying it for a while and I've been seeing it in my tarot cards and with my pendulum for a while that this eclipse and this full moon tonight are going to be the turning point. This is what we've all been waiting for if we're not real keen on Donald Trump. We've been waiting for this moment to come, excuse me, and shed light on what's been going on in his presidency. I do have a tarot reading for you. I did one. I had another one that I did on William Barr, and I don't have the cards out. I put them away, but I can read to you kind of the gist of what I got. So I do have a tarot reading that I did. I'm probably not going to be doing tarot readings for about a month. We'll see if I can stick to that. It's going to be really hard, but I needed to put everything away for a lunar cycle, let everything cleanse and clear to get this XO guy out of my life. So first of all, it is the full moon. It is an eclipse. If you are spiritual, this is the day to take that salt bath. It's the day to sage your house, sage your crystals, put your crystals in your windowsill and let them charge under this moon. It's a very powerful moon. And then starting tomorrow, it's not going to happen overnight, but starting tomorrow, we're going to start. We've reached the tipping point. Light is now is coming in and exposing the crimes and the misdeeds of this president and his administration. And we've seen kind of this scale up this week with the whole racist tweets that he's been making. He's done those tweets. If you've watched, I think it was David Johnson's latest video. It may have been somebody else. I can't remember. But if you've watched any of the other tarot readers and channelers and psychics that follow this issue, somebody said that this whole thing about these racist tweets was meant to be a diversion. I think it was David Johnson, actually, meant to be a diversion from the Epstein case. And it's kind of backfiring on him, where now it's like, this was a little too far. You've gone too far for even some conservatives, because while some conservatives are happy to be racist and wave that racist flag, there's a lot of conservatives who are not, and that this is not what they signed up for. They're not into the whole racist thing and go back to where you came from stuff. Because when you think about it, this is how I respond to that. Every single white person in America is an immigrant or a child or an offspring of immigrants. The Indians were here first, and the Mexicans. Mexico used to extend, back in the day, Mexico extended well up into the United States. We're talking up into like Oregon, way up there near Canada. This was their land before it was ours, and the white man came over and stole it. So, I'm reading a book on Navajo, the Navajos, and we did horrible. Our ancestors did horrible things to the Indians when they came here, and to the Mexicans that lived on this land. And they went in and wiped out without mercy entire tribes of humans, just because they wanted the land. And Mexico didn't cede the land to the United States. The United States took it from them by force. So if anybody has any right in this country to be saying, go back to where you came from, it's the Native Americans and the Mexicans who lived here first. So I think Donald Trump needs to remember that he himself came from immigrants. Okay? That's all I'm going to say about that. And if you don't like it, that's fine. This isn't your channel. If you're a Trump supporter, this is not the channel for you. So move along. I hope this video comes through. I'm getting some weird jumping on the feed. Okay, so XO, before I move on to the tarot reading, I did say that XO has gotten physical. I think in the last video I did, I mentioned that he had broken a couple of bowls of mine when I was saging the house, and had punched me or kicked me or done something to my right leg. It took me, it was probably 2 full days. I mean, I was sitting here reading cards and reading my pendulum, and when I went to stand up, I could barely stand on my right leg. It felt like, you know how when you turn around, like if you're turning around really fast to run someplace in the house and you slam into the corner of a desk, that's what it felt like. It was deep, deep, deep in the tissue, and it hurt. It took me, like I said, 2 days, and then it just finally went away. And there was never a bruise. It just pain, like you wouldn't believe. But since I stopped reading tarot cards and doing my pendulum work about a week ago, he's gotten increasingly agitated because he can't get to me. For about 36 hours the other day, I was really just sickly. I felt queasy and nauseated, didn't want to eat, just felt like that at any moment I could just puke. And every time I would call in protections, when it got so bad, I would call in protections, it would ease up, and then it would come back. And it started like about lunchtime on one day, and then extended until the evening of the next. And it was not comfortable. It was definitely something. It felt like somebody had reached inside my gut and was like, at times, and it was just not a pleasant feeling at all. And I hadn't eaten anything different than I normally eat, and so it wasn't food related. And like I said, every time I called in protections, it got better. So that was one thing. And then when that didn't seem to shut me up and stop me from putting up protections and doing my meditations every morning, he attacked me in the shower. Yeah, I have never had this happen before. And so now I've got the experience, and I can say I've experienced this, that I was just taking my shower, and out of nowhere, I got this burning sensation on the front of my thigh, my left thigh. And I was like, "Ooh, what was that?" And I'm blind without my glasses, so I really didn't notice anything. I didn't think anything of it. And then it felt like you'd been scratched and then poured salt water on it. It stung and kind of burned. But I got out of the shower, I'm drying off, put my glasses on, and I happened to look down at my leg, and it looked like somebody had taken their nails and gone like this in just like about a 3 to 4 inch section of my thigh right in the front. And I thought, well, there you go. And I actually did pull my pendulum out this morning. That's the last time I used it for a month. And I said, was that him? And I got a yes, that he did attack me in the shower. Moving along. And then yesterday I was having back spasms and pain in my back and pain in my shoulder and just a myriad of stuff. And then last night it just felt like there was somebody in my house. I didn't sleep well, and it just felt like there was somebody here. And then I woke up. I was waking up like every hour on the hour, and I was like, "You've got to be kidding!" After like 4 or 5 times of this, I said, "Archangel Michael, please protect me. Please be here and help me." And this, and I'm trying to watch. I had the light off in my room, and I was watching a video on my phone, and I don't like to do that, but I had to do something just to get my mind occupied. And I saw this shadow kind of pass on the wall next to the bed, and I thought, okay, that's when I turned the light on, and that's when I asked for Archangel Michael to come in and protect me. And when I finally fell asleep again, I actually dreamed about Michael. And he appeared to me, and at first in my dream, I was worried that he was a bad guy. And I was like, Archangel Michael, please protect me. And I'm running around my house, and it looked just like my normal house. Normally, when I dream, places don't look like they do in real life. And this looked like, I felt like I was actually awake. And I run into the bathroom trying to get away from this thing and this entity, and I was like, Michael, help me, protect me. And I come back out into the hallway, and he's standing there, and he's got on a dark suit, and he's got blonde hair and blue eyes, And he's just looking at me kind of like, it's me. I'm here. Stop fretting. Quit freaking out. I'm here. And I remember we sat down and we talked, and I felt very calm and protected in that moment. And I remember we talked, and I was so excited that we were talking, and he was telling me things, and he was sitting right. We came back into my room or went back into my bedroom, and I got in bed, and he's sitting right next to the bed. And I remember feeling like, in hindsight, I felt like it's okay now. Michael's here, and he's going to watch over me while I sleep. And I slept through the rest of the night. So that's my story about what's going on with the psychic drama in my life. But the good news is Michael is here, and I'm feeling safe and protected. I did take yerba santo, looks like this, around my house today, and I saged the whole house, because again, it's the full moon. This is the day to do it. I saged all my crystals, so I'm feeling pretty good. Like I might actually get a good night's sleep tonight. Okay, so that said, I've been doing meditations every morning. One of the things that I was told to do while I'm taking this break from my pendulum and my tarot cards is to meditate every day and just open up and ask for clarity. And something that keeps coming up on my meditations is pyramids. I'm seeing a lot of pyramids and a lot of triangle shapes. And if you read anything here's a good book, Diana Cooper. It's probably backward on the screen. It's A New Light on Ascension by Diana Cooper. I just finished this book last night, actually. And she talks a lot about pyramids, and there's a very spiritual significance to pyramids. I've been seeing a lot of that in my meditations. So there's something, and David Johnson said something about triangles in his reading that he posted this morning, and pyramids. There's something having to do with pyramids, and right now I think this is important. I'm getting that this is important. This is a big deal. Something about pyramids coming in, and there's a high level of spirituality, and this is going to take things to the next level for us as a human race. And then the other thing I got, and it was so interesting because I got this in a meditation on the 14th, I believe. And then last night, when I was reading the end of this book, she mentioned something about the tapestry. And what I got in my meditation was, and I actually write everything down when it's significant, all experiences, good and bad, add to the tapestry of life, not just for one person, but for all people. What you do to one, you do to all, because you are all connected. That came to me in a meditation. All experiences, good and bad, add to the tapestry of life, not just for one person, but for all people. What you do to one, you do to all, because you are all connected. And that was a message from somebody up here in the spiritual realm, telling me that this is something that all of us, what we do to one, we do to all. We're all connected. And this is what they believed in Atlantis, in the time of Atlantis, that what they did to one, they did to all. And that's why they couldn't hurt each other, because they knew, if I hurt you, I hurt myself. And she mentioned this in this book, and I wanted to just real quickly read this, and before I get my tarot cards out, and go into that, and then we'll try to be done within 30 minutes today. She wrote in this book, if you harbor ill thoughts against another person or situation, you hold a ball of that low vibration energy within you, and low vibration action will be perpetrated repeatedly against you until you release the anger and find a loving perspective. At all times, bless that ugly building, the snarling dog, the rapacious owner, that weed you are pulling out, and the blessings must inevitably return to you and therefore to all. Bless all meaningfully, not like an automaton. With compassion in your heart, bless those who seem to hold you back. Bless the sick with a reassuring touch. Bless with understanding those of lower consciousness. Oneness means that we are all mirrors of one another. That is the most important thing here, I think. That really sticks out to me. Oneness means that we are all mirrors of one another. When you look at somebody else, you're looking at yourself, and they are looking at themselves when they look at you. Like vibrations attract like. If we do not like what we draw into our life, we are asked to look honestly in the mirror. You draw to you that which you are. And if you don't like the people around you, you need to look inward. What is it that you're drawing to you because it's within yourself? Deep stuff, I know. Okay, then we must raise our vibration. Higher vibrations must be earned by raising our consciousness, but once earned and mastered, we never again attract the same lower vibration tests, circumstances, or people. So that was really powerful stuff. This book, I'm going to have to read this book about 20 times to fully digest it. It's so deep. It's not that thick, but it's such a deep book. I've moved on to her book, The Archangel Guide to Enlightenment and Mastery, Living in the Fifth Dimension. And I'm so tired. I'm struggling to speak coherently, so I apologize. All right, let's get on with what you all are wanting to get on with. This tarot reading. I did one on William Barr the other day, and then yesterday one just came to me. I pulled out a random deck and I was shuffling it, and I just got draw some cards, and I got some really interesting cards. I started asking some questions, and I got some good cards. That one was on Donald Trump. So I asked, what will happen to William Barr now that Jeff Epstein has been charged? I did this tarot reading on the 11th. I'm sorry I don't have the cards to show you. But what I basically got was that he knew about the children, and that Lady Justice is going to balance the scales, and justice will be served, and that he cannot escape this justice. I also got the death card for him. That this is the end of his career. I think he knew what his dad was doing, because his dad hired this Jeff Epstein without any education whatsoever to work at Dalton, an elite school, at the age of 20. And I think what Epstein was doing, I think that was kind of the beginning of his sex trafficking stuff that he was doing. I think he was getting girls for his dad, Barr's dad. I also got that, let's see, the end of his career. I'm getting that Barr was the emperor, a very short-lived emperor of the Justice Department, but that strong, fast movement forward is coming, and that he could be leaving very soon because of this. I get that in the near future. I got the Four of Swords, and the words "lay down your sword, it's over" came to me when I pulled the card and I looked at it. That was a quote that came into my mind. Lay down your sword, it's over. He's done. That's just what I got. He still sees himself as all that and a bag of chips. This is William Barr. But this whole administration is afflicted with that delusion. We're all that in a bag of chips, but they're really not. It's like they don't see the truth in themselves. They think that everybody thinks that they're great, and they just don't understand, why don't people like us? And they really don't understand why people don't like them. They don't see that they've done anything wrong. And in this respect, this is kind of why you have to have a little compassion, because they are completely blind to what they've done. They just don't see it. I don't even think that if and when they get convicted of their crimes, I don't even think that many of them are going to see what they've done wrong. People like Stephen Miller, Donald Trump, William Barr. Some of them I think will understand that they know if they've done something wrong. But these other people, I don't think they're even going to acknowledge it. Let me see what else I got. The final outcome for William Barr basically is loss and disappointment. I got the Five of Cups for him. In this particular deck, Five of Cups shows 3 cups are full, and 3 cups represent the truth, and that has already been spilled, and there's 2 more cups that are full, and those cups represent the truth and evidence yet to come. So in that Five of Cups card, the truth is spilling out, and there's more truth yet to be spilled. I also got the King of Swords as a clarifier, which was Bob Mueller, and when I got that card, I heard, "I told you so." Like Bob Mueller is telling William Barr, "I told you so. I told you this was going to happen. Why didn't you listen? Why did you go down this path and defend this guy?" And then I also got the Fool, which means, in this case, a new beginning, not just for the country, but for the world. And then let's show you, this is an interesting deck of cards. What I did, here, let me just pull these cards out, and then I'm going to show you what I did. I'm going to lay them out. I have this deck. I have a couple of decks that are kind of on the dark side. One of them is called 13 Tarot by Necro or Fournier. And the maker, I think, is Fournier. And it's a little gothic and a little dark. And then I have another one called Dark Grimoire. And it's that, the Fournier deck is hard to read intuitively, but the Dark Grimoire is really easy to read intuitively. But this is the Fournier deck, and I'll show you these cards. This is the back of it. See how gothic that looks? It's a little scary. And then this is the Five of Wands, and in this deck they use crow's heads for wands. They use hourglasses for cups. These little daggers, dirks, I guess is what they're called, for swords. And these keys for pentacles. But here's, like, for instance, this is the Judgment card. It does not look a thing like the Judgment card in the Rider-Waite deck. And it's one of my favorite cards in the deck, though, because I'm a writer, and this person is climbing up a staircase made of books. So this is one of the few cards in this deck that I can actually read a little intuitively, because this entity at the top of these book steps is looking into a mirror where another entity is coming out. We talked about the mirror that I read, that passage that I read. This is a person looking into the mirror and deciding, do I like what I see? Do I like what's coming back out at me? Okay. So that's kind of what we're looking at. This is the moon. Again, doesn't look a thing like the moon in the Rider-Waite deck. But what I did, oh, and then the lovers. I love this card. Okay. What I did, here's what I did. This is what I got. So I pulled out the card from the deck that I was shuffling. In this case, it's the Ace of Pentacles. And this is what the Ace of Pentacles looks like in Rider-Waite. And this is what you're probably more familiar with seeing when you watch other tarot readers. Okay. And I wanted to at least pull these out of the Rider-Waite so that you could see what I got. So, and I had just read this intuitively. I didn't even write anything down. The first question I asked was, what is going to be revealed for Donald Trump when it comes to Epstein-Barr's arrest and the charges against him? And what I got was money is going to be revealed, big money. So Epstein's arrest is going to reveal for Donald Trump the money, what he did with his money. And then these next two cards, I got Ace of Wands, and in the typical traditional Rider-Waite, wands are phallic in nature. They can represent the male penis. Okay. Not so much with this particular card because it's a crow's head, but that's why I wanted to show you these. This is going to, Epstein's arrest and the charges against him are going to reveal what Trump did with his wand. And then I got the King of Swords. Okay. And if you notice in the King of Swords in this particular deck, the sword is coming down from, the general area of the penile region. And this is the typical Rider-Waite. Again, the swords can also be referred to as a phallic symbol in tarot. So this is kind of a double whammy. The truth. So you got the sword of truth and you got the phallic representation. So basically, what Epstein's arrest is going to reveal about Donald Trump is the money and what he did with his wand, and the truth about what he did with his wand. So we get a little double whammy there on that. That's just the intuitive impressions I got. Then I asked, what's going to happen to Donald Trump based on Epstein's arrest? And then I got the Empress. So Empress is, I always want, for some reason, yesterday and today, when I pulled these cards up, I thought secrets. And that's not what the Empress is all about. That's the High Priestess, the secrets. The Empress is typically seen as pregnant or fertile. This is they refer to the Empress as, America or Mother Russia sometimes. What I got was that it's going to be revealed that he got these girls, at least some of them, pregnant. That's just what I got. And that he probably paid for some abortions. And we've already seen in some other readings I did that children are going to come forward that actually got born. This is the big one. It's going to reveal the end of his presidency, the death card. And that's that. This came right smack in the center of everything. I mean, I'll show you. Again, there's the death card. It came right in the middle of all of this. I'll push this back. So there's what's going to be revealed. Here's what's going to happen. And then down here's extra stuff. Right in the middle of this is death. New beginnings, endings, and beginnings. So that's what's going to happen. This is going to cause an end to Donald Trump's presidency. It's also going to reveal his relationships with other dirty people like Putin and others who committed these crimes against these girls. And it's going to show connections to MBS, because there's a tie that Epstein has to Saudi Arabia. He's got a passport under a different name for Saudi Arabia. And I have a feeling, my strong intuition tells me that he was doing for, I just saw something in the hallway. So anyway, sorry I jumped. It's like somebody peeked out or something at me. The point is, and I just got the chills. I'm so sorry. Okay, focus. That I think Epstein was doing for MBS and Saudi Arabian royalty what he's been doing for American politicians and Hollywood royalty and rock and roll stars. I think we're going to see this big, massive unloading of names because of this. I think a lot of people, and not just men, are going to go down with this. Oh, I just dropped that card. I'll get it later. So then I asked, okay, so can you give me some more information about what's going to happen here? I got the Strength card, and I always feel women when I get this card. In the Rider-Waite, it's a calm, reassuring, in control woman who is taming the beast. So I feel like this is the power of women finally bringing this beast of burden that they've had to carry for so long under control. They're finally getting their day in court. I see imprisonment, 8 of Swords. So imprisonment, I see it's the release of these women from being imprisoned of their own minds for so long, and it's also the imprisonment of those who mistreated them and abused them. I get the 8 of Cups. Now, here's the significant thing. We're going to go back and look at these 3 cards again in just a moment. But this is the 8 of Cups. I see someone walking away. Now, if you watch Black and Orange Tarot, which is, again, she's hilarious and she's fabulous, this card is somebody bringing evidence forward, dropping it off, and then leaving. Somebody else bringing evidence forward, dropping it off, and leaving. I feel that with this card, but I also feel it's Trump walking away. I feel like the evidence that is brought forward against him is so great that he has no choice but to walk away. Now, I'm going to bring up the Rider-Waites that I just showed you. These are all 8s. Now, in this deck, the Strength card is number 11, but in the Rider-Waite deck, it's number 8. And I knew that. I thought, well, that's really odd. Why is this number 11? And then I looked and it was the number 8 in Rider-Waite. All 8s. Boom, boom, boom. I feel like the message in the cards are pertinent here, but the number 8, I believe, is also pertinent because it's really jumped out at me. Jumped out at me. Sorry, I had to do that. I think that August is going to just really be a big month. That's what I'm saying here. So get ready for August. I also got the Sun card, the illumination of what's been happening to underage girls for far, far, far too long. Temperance, which is bringing things back into balance. But if you notice in this card, again, I don't read this deck very intuitively. It's a hard deck to read intuitively because there's just not a lot of imagery that you can work with, especially when you have cards that like this, where it's just 8 cups. How do you read that intuitively? I have to actually remember that this is the 8 of Cups and Rider-Waite, and then I can go, okay, this is what that means. But in this particular card, there is a sword going through the chest of this person. It's like they've been stabbed right through the heart. And so I feel like we have kind of a dual meaning here. And this was the deck that I was working with. I only pulled this out to show you what it looks like in Rider-Waite. I think this is a sword through the heart of Donald Trump, like metaphorically speaking, and the presidency, that does bring things back into balance for these women and for the country. And then last but not least, and then we're so close to being at 30 minutes, I went over again. We got the Queen of Cups. Here she comes again. She just seems to come up in every reading I do now about this. And the Queen of Cups, for me, represents all of the women who were abused as little girls by not just Trump and not just Epstein, but by all of these people. If you watch Melissa, Free Range Psychic, again, I love her. She is just incredible. She's almost been like a teacher for me. I started watching her just a few months ago, and I've learned so much. And I kind of found my voice and my style a little bit from watching her. But anyway, she said she did a reading on Epstein and Trump and just a couple of days ago. And if you want to really get some big information, if you can stomach this topic and it's not a trigger for you, I highly recommend that you go watch Melissa, Free Range Psychic. She actually asked her pendulum and her guides for names of the men and who were involved, and she got a lot. And she didn't name all the names, but she did say the entire Freedom Caucus, which the Freedom Caucus is made up of all GOP, like Jim Jordan, Matt Gaetz, Donald Trump has been kind of inaugurated into that. He's kind of their poster child, their poster boy. People like Paul Ryan got out, didn't go into the Freedom Caucus apparently, and I don't think he's implicated in this, but who knows? I didn't ask. So that's it. I wanted to show you real quickly from my Dark Grimoire deck. If you do read tarot, this is the Dark Grimoire tarot deck. This is the box for the 13 tarot by Necro. It's the Fournier deck. And if you do read tarot and you like to read intuitively, I'd highly recommend this Dark Grimoire deck. This is the back of the card. And this is the Three of Pentacles. Doesn't look like a Three of Pentacles that you see in traditional tarot cards, does it? And again, this is only if you're familiar with tarot decks. If you're not familiar with tarot decks, you're probably going to go, I don't know, this doesn't mean anything to me. But if you read tarot, this is a very unusual Three of Pentacles. This is a very unusual Four of Cups. But the imagery, there's just imagery all over these cards. This is probably the one I showed you first. This is probably my favorite card in this deck because it reminded me of something that happened that I saw when I was a little girl and I could really relate to. And that's, for me, that's a huge sign of an intuitive deck, when I can relate it to things and can provide lessons. This is a Two of Wands in this deck. Let me see. I'm going to see if there's, oh, and I love this. The Queen of Swords. Look, she's got heads sitting at her feet. She's cut the heads off of the men that she's taken, prisoner. And then the Seven of Swords, and I won't go into a whole bunch more, but these are just fabulous storytelling cards. So if you're a tarot reader, and you want to, if you're not afraid of a little dark, and then the Nine of Swords, the Nine of Swords, looking at the mirror again. Do you like what you see in the mirror or not? Do you see a monster looking back at you in the mirror? Or do you see a genuine, good-hearted, compassionate person looking back at you in the mirror? This card, again, very intuitive. I get really strong intuitive readings when I read from this deck. And I pretty much saved this deck just for Trump and his administration. Got some good stuff. That's it. It's 35 minutes. Thank you for sticking with me again. I don't know how often I'm going to be able to get back on in the next month, because I'm really not going to be doing a lot of stuff, a lot of tarot and a lot of pendulum stuff as I recover from XO and build up my protections and kind of work my light. But anyway, I hope that I'll be on a little bit, a couple of times between now and the next full moon, just to see and touch base with everybody. Okay, thank you so much. I love you guys, and blessings to all of you, and happy full moon and lunar eclipse. Send out love and light to everybody, by the way.